Hello and welcome again to another episode of Leads and Leverage, the Team Leader Lounge. I'm excited to be joined today by Walter Washington. He's an accredited buyer's representative designation through the National Association of Realtors, and excited to hear about him and what he's doing in Arkansas. So Walter, thanks for being here with us today.
Man, thank you, Tyler, for having me on this morning. I appreciate it.
Yeah, excited to learn more. So let's start by tell me a little bit about your career. How long have you been in the industry? How have things progressed? Give us the 30,000 foot view of your world in real estate.
Absolutely. So I've been in real estate for half a decade, and a lot of it hinges on me entering the industry during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Although I had a heart and desire to join before then, the pandemic kind of explored my options to say, hey, why not now? What better time than to test the waters and so speak it then? A lot of it came because of my friends and colleagues. I had he's like a big brother to me, a mentor, a colleague of mine. He said, you have the knack to be in real estate. Now, I'm not a big salesperson at all, but he said, hey, well, you have a people skill that I think works well. And my mother saw the same thing. And me being in some personal transaction of mine, so I felt it that I wanted to be in this field to advocate for individuals who may not have the best leg forward, like unfortunately where I didn't when I was going through real estate transactions personally.
Tell me a little bit about that. How was it that you didn't have the best experience when you were personally buying a home?
Well, my first experience was awesome, I will admit.
Okay.
Unfortunately, when I had to come back and I got married, we were going to go to a home that was now ours together, and we're going back to that agent I worked with. That agent no longer was in the industry. I was like, okay, no worries, we'll plan B. And so my wife had a agent in mind at the moment. We reached out to, didn't hear back from. Later on, come to find out that agent unfortunately had passed away. So okay, well, plan C. And as we were shopping agents and everything, and we went through about 2 or 3 different agents, finally found one, and that agent may unfortunately put a scar on the industry when it comes to representing us as a seller, because I sold my then home to then go build a new home. And then unfortunately, the transaction was not as I just did not imagine it would be that way. So, just having that experience, from the communication or at least from the onboarding, the experience and just saying, hey, here's what to expect. A lot of things we learned came from my loan officer. So when I decided to go into the industry, I wanted to make sure that I expand my mind to as many segments as possible, to many individuals that had touched it, from title agents to insurance agents to appraisers, home inspectors, loan officers, other realtors, you name it. Is that our biggest thing is I wanted to have as much information in my hands so that way I could be equipped to help my clientele, whether it be buying, selling, renting, all the above.
Wow. Okay, cool. So now you have a team. You've been in the industry half a decade. You have a team now. Tell me a little bit about the evolution of starting a team. How did that start to come about?
Well, it started coming about because I'm a husband and father. We have 3 young men, 2 of them in high school, one of them's about to go into middle school, and we do a lot of traveling when it comes to doing things. So that takes me, my physical ability to service a lot of my clientele in person as much as I like. And so the biggest thing I work with my broker to say, hey, here's a platform. I want to figure out how can we make this work where we can increase co-representation. Everybody has an opportunity to be a part of it, and we can increase sales volume at the most part. So she saw that opportunity as something to do as well. And so the way that works is that I have individuals for each part of Arkansas that helps represent me, or we represent either the buyer or seller in those areas. Right now we have individuals helping me here in Central Arkansas, which is Pulaski County and surrounding counties. I have an individual, which is my broker, who's helping me in Southwest Arkansas because of her expertise with Texarkana and that. I have an individual that's helped me in Southeast Arkansas because of her expertise in Helena, West Helena. And I'm looking to expand for Northwest Arkansas and Northeast Arkansas, which is Jonesboro for Northeast Arkansas, and the Big Four, Fayetteville, Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Northwest Arkansas. So that's the piece there, is that I wanted to make sure that whenever I receive contact from a potential client, that I'm able to service them appropriately and give them the best service experience as possible, because the individuals I partner with, they're not only as experienced as me, some of them have more experience, and I understand that it takes a leader mindset to know that there are going to be individuals on your team that are going to be better at what you do, and I'd rather be with them than without them.
Very cool. Yeah. No, I love that. And similarly for me, when I started my team, it was all about just having more leverage in my business for to create more time for myself. I actually started during COVID, just like you did, and I had a full time job. I was working from home, and I got a big client that was doing a lot of fix and flips during that time, and I just found I was tapped out on my times. There were times where I needed to go see a property and I just couldn't go because I had a meeting that I had to be in front of my computer for. And so that's how I brought on my first agent to be part of my team, was really just to say, hey, I need a partner that can go out and be in places when I can't. So I totally understand that. And now it's about having more time for my family. Similarly to you, being able to be with your family, I assume be with your boys and enjoy all of their things while still being able to give people a world-class buying and selling experience. So I was going to ask you about the accredited buyers, the ABR designation that you have.
Yes.
How does that enhance the home buying experience for clients, and what unique advantages does it provide them?
So going through that designation, it gives information that prayerfully all real estate agents know already. Unfortunately, it's a lot of details in it that some of it that may I just was not aware of. So it helped me expand my knowledge on how I can better represent buyers when it comes to them helping them find the right loan officer or the right lending solution, helping them navigate along the home search, identifying their budget to determine, okay, how do we work within the areas of desire and match it up to what our funds will allow, and being able to communicate effectively with them, because at the end of the day, we're a concierge just walking them through the process to ensure that they have the best understanding of what options are available for them to choose. And doing that ABR gave me a lot of empowerment to do so, and I'm happy to have it in part of my tool belt.
That's awesome. I think earlier before we started recording, you had mentioned that you also have another designation, at home with diversity. Tell me a little bit about that. How does that play into your business? What prompted you to go forward and develop that designation as well?
Absolutely. So, and a lot of the work that I do in nonprofit as well as in state government and other industries, I'm dealing with a lot of different groups of individuals that come from different backgrounds, different cultures, you name it. And one of the things is, as a agent, I want to ensure that I'm equipped with is the ability to navigate amongst different spectrums of individuals, because every individual is going to be obviously different than the next. It's what makes them individuals. And we're not always talking about the big numbers where we're looking at when saying, hey, we're looking at race or looking at age, what have you. There's so much diversity along that spectrum that we have to look for, especially when it comes to fair housing, especially when it comes to the protected class at the federal level. We as agents want to be equipped, and especially as realtors want to be equipped with all the nuances and ensuring that we are working with clientele in a non-discriminatory manner and in a manner that makes them comfortable and want to do their experience again, or at least refer you to someone else for their next experience.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love all of that. And, the world of real estate is constantly changing, right? So, how do you stay ahead in a dynamic field like this so that you're able to continuously adapt to the changing market trends?
Cool. Continuing education. Indeed. And a lot of it is also formal, we're just sitting in the classroom or sitting online or what have you, or at your pace. But most of it is just in the field, working with other practitioners of real estate. Where those practitioners, as I shared earlier, be loan officers, closing agents, home buyers, sellers, your broker, other agents, whoever. It's just taking the information, taking those experiences, and building upon for the next transaction to ensure that I'm taking that information and learning from it in a progressive manner.
Yeah. And so that brings us to the third designation that you have, which is the commitment to excellence. Why were you so committed to going after something like that?
Because at the end of the day, and I'll use something, Walter, working, advocating, leveraging towards excellent results. That's who I feel I am. That's who I am. That's what embodies me.
Yeah.
And that what it is that I want our clientele to have an experience that I would want to have. And at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to go through anything worse than I go through. I want you to have it better than I do. And as a Christian, that's just the biggest piece of my belief is that do unto others as they do unto you.
Yeah.
And even further, go a step further and do more than what they do for you.
Yeah.
Because giving is more important than receiving. And I want to give as much excellence as I work towards that.
That's awesome. I want to switch gears just a little bit and ask a little bit more about some of your team structures, and because this is, after all, leads and leverage, right? That's the show.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I love asking people, what specific forms of leverage have you found to be the most effective within your own business?
The biggest leverage I had is at this moment, well, for pretty much most of my career, has been referrals, rather than ingoing or outgoing. The referral piece has been tremendous for me, which is why I had to go switch to a brokerage that was a little bit more accommodating when it comes to the commission split. Because a lot of times what I do with that is if I get a referral from out of state, I am more than happy to share it with my team based off our internal agreement. So that way we can work that referral accordingly and don't just let it fall to the wayside. Because, a lot of times, unfortunately, referrals, I get them in areas of the state that right now, unfortunately, we can't service Northeast Arkansas, but I'm getting referrals from Northeast Arkansas. And that's where our next point is. We're heavily recruiting agents who can be in those areas or looking to serve those areas, to which now we can include that in our referral clientele.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. When it comes to sourcing leads for your business, right? Because that's the lifeblood, I think, of the real estate business. What channels or methods do you primarily rely on?
Right now, it's primarily social media, follow up with just continual engagement with my current and past clientele, and just networking amongst other circles, whether it be small groups within my area of geographically or electronically and digitally online. The biggest piece is I always want to ensure that the information I'm putting out there is consistent, it's accurate, and it's engaging. So that way, when I do have the opportunity to come across, whether it be a potential lead or a referral, you name it, I am in that position to service it accordingly.
To elaborate for me a little bit on social media and generating leads through social media. You hear about it a lot. What have you found to work best, and what have you done to help cultivate success through it?
So there was a method that I picked up a while back. It was about, I think it was like a 3/3 method, to which when you do your social media, you want a third of it to reflect your personal life. You want a third of it to reflect your business. And then you want a third of it just really just kind of resharing others' content. And
Oh,
so that's been kind of the model I picked up so that I can kind of increase engagement. A lot of times because, who wants to go see a page that's all about just one piece of information over and over, right? I mean, it'd be like, what if we went to YouTube or something similar and just watched the same type of video over and over, and it'll get boring after a while. That was a piece there. And then that's just really on my Facebook and Instagram. And then I leverage my LinkedIn information to stay connected to professionals within and outside the industry to kind of stay in there. My next focus though is to really pick back up on ads. Ads do very well. It's just I will admit I have not been doing a great job of it, but I'd have to do a better job of doing the ad generation as well because in the past it worked fine for me. It increased my contacts and
yeah.
gave me just get me in front of more people.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. Social media ads, they definitely work. I find that those leads tend to be super high up in the sales funnel process, but definitely a great way to generate a large volume of new names, numbers, and email addresses that you can then be prospecting through and just seeing how you may be able to help them. Which kind of brings me to my next question. Converting leads into clients is a pivotal aspect of real estate success. What could you share any insights or strategies or processes you've developed to, effectively convert leads from your primary lead source or your loyal clients?
Absolutely. And of course, this is just something that I kind of built over time. And as I study more methods and things of the nature out there, is making that first initial contact. It's important, being prepared on what to say. At the end of the day, I have to learn that, yes, I can give you a presentation, but is that really what you want? Or is it that you want someone who can serve as a concierge, listen to your needs, and be able to repeat your needs in an effective manner to where it could be a checklist to then service you on your desires, your preferences in accordance to your budget. That's where my biggest piece of communication wise is that I'm learning more to listen, take the information down, and strategize it to make it compatible to what they're looking for as either their buyer, seller, renter, whatever it may be.
I love that. In a previous role that I had, we used to call that discovery. I did software implementations, and we would have these discovery meetings, and oftentimes it would be multiple sessions where you were sitting down and trying to understand what the goal was, what they were currently doing, right? That sort of thing. And today I teach my agents the same thing. You need to go into and do discovery. We can call it a buyer's consultation, but it's discovery. You need to
Right.
understand, what are their goals? Where are they at? What's their timeline look like, right? Do they have kids? Do they have pets? These are really important things to understand. So I love that you do a very similar thing. As a team leader, navigating the balance between delegation and maintaining a personal touch with clients is crucial. So how do you leverage your team's strengths while ensuring that personalized attention to each lead or client interaction?
Well, that's been easier said than done, primarily because a lot of our agents, they go through the same challenge that we go through. The lack of communications from the client sometimes, or us missing opportunities to communicate effectively. It's a moving target. And so the biggest piece that I utilize is that I do my best to stay in the communication circle between myself, my co-representative, and the client that we're serving, to which it allows us then to know if, hey, where are some conversations going? There are times, usually weekly, I have a conversation with that agent to just get a preview of what challenges that they're facing with the transaction, if any. And then there'll be times I'll follow back up with the buyer or the seller or whomever, or other individuals that are involved in that process, to kind of just vet what's going on and see what we can do to continue the transaction, recognizing that sometimes transactions, they do come to a stall and we have to pick them back up later. But prayerfully, most of them, our goal is obviously to close it successfully and gain a happy customer, happy consumer.
Yeah. So what have you found to be the biggest struggle or pain point as a team leader trying to expand a business?
I think the biggest pain point is, and this is with any leadership role, is getting others to buy into the vision. Broker saw it through and through, bought into it very quickly and easily, but that's when you are already a leader. I think that's pretty easy to see that you can do that. But when you have agents that are they're not necessarily leaders, but they are great practitioners of what they do, they may not understand that strategy as much, and they're just still doing business as usual, which may not produce the most optimal results. And so that's the piece there where I'm trying to do my work to figure out how can I navigate it to motivate a agent to do it in this structure that still will not only coincide with what they're comfortable doing, but would actually help them increase their efficiency, increase their effectiveness, and bring us to our goal a lot better than what we would.
Yeah, I love that. What kind of advice would you give to an agent that's thinking about starting a team?
The best advice I would give is to build on yourself before you can expect others to build you. It's going to be tough to have someone come and do the roof of your house if you don't even have a foundation. And so as a leader, we have to make sure we're doing the things to educate ourselves, to build ourselves up as leaders before we go out there and bring others underneath our toolage and expect them to do this, do work for us. It's going to be ineffective to do just that, and it's going to be impractical. So the advice I have is to make sure that you are well prepared for that leadership role. It's going to take some direction. It's going to take some management. It's going to take some supervision. It's going to take some elements that some individuals are not necessarily comfortable with. But you also have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So there we have it.
I love that. You got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That rings true for me. I definitely feel that. If you were going to give somebody ready to start a team 2 pieces of advice about starting a team or running a team, what's the first thing they should do as they consider launching a real estate team?
Start it. I think most of us, we get stuck in the pre-work, not realizing that you already had it to begin with. Start it. Because the longer you're waiting to actually make an official start date or official launch, the longer you are from getting it started. Just begin. And then once you begin, be open to adapting. We don't have to change what we're doing. We just have to now navigate it in a way to where we're thinking for multiple individuals. So you're still a real estate agent. You're still a salesperson. You're still bound by the ethics of if you're the real estate commission, your local board, all those things. Continue doing what we're supposed to be doing. That doesn't mean you have to go and increase your capacity to XYZ, but now you have to just think about it twofold. So those two things: start and continue doing what you're doing, but now do it from the mindset of multiple individuals.
I love that. So with your team, do you generate all of the business and pass it on to the team members, or are you teaching team members how to generate their own business and supporting it, or is it kind of a mix of the two?
Right now, it's typically the business that I receive, I give out to the team. The team is obviously, they're open to do whatever they want to do. And what I do is, whatever business, it almost works as a internal referral. Oh, okay. And that's kind of what I look at it with them. I say, hey, treat this as an internal co-representation agreement. You're not answering to me, I'm not answering you. We still have our supervising broker. However, the work that I'm bringing along with me, I am sharing with you, and we are in agreement that you're going to be doing XYZ to service this transaction, and I do XYZ to help you service this transaction to its closest.
Got it. Well, that's cool. Well, if people wanted to learn more, if there's an agent in Northeast Arkansas, right? That's where you're looking for folks now?
Yeah, well, they're northern half, Northeast and Northwest. We're looking to recruit accordingly.
Well, if there are folks that are interested in learning more about what you're doing, and what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
So 2 ways: text and email. Please do call me, but unfortunately, how today's days are, if it's an unknown number, leave a message or send a text, because a lot of times it's spam. But yeah, definitely call, text me, 501-612-3838. And my email address, get this, is email me at walterwashington.realtor. So that's all together. Email me at walterwashington.realtor, 501-612-3838. Call, text, email, all the above.
Awesome. Any final words of wisdom that you would shout out to people thinking about getting involved in real estate or becoming a team leader or anything like that?
Absolutely. Talk with other agents. Definitely do your due diligence in interviewing brokerages and learning, is this something that you want to do? This is a industry that is very lucrative, but it's going to take commitment, dedication, and work. It's not something you can get while just doing nothing. Even those that have been here for many, many years, and they're still having to do the same things they did since day one. So if you're really interested in this, take time to learn more about the industry, see if it's compatible with your aspirations, and then go from there.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Walter, for hanging out with me today and sharing with us about what you're doing there in Arkansas. Sounds like you've got a really cool business that you're building there. And I'm excited to stay in touch and learn more in the future. So for everybody listening, thanks so much for joining us in the Team Leader Lounge for Leads and Leverage. My name's Tyler Gibson. We'll catch you guys next time.